Hey guys, welcome to Tech Learnings. Today we are continuing with the Essentials series. We have already published one video in the Essentials series where we learned how to debug an application. Just for those people who do not know what is Essentials series all about. Essential series where we learn all those concepts, all those things, or those shortcuts which we frequently use in our day-to-day life, or those things which we as developers must be aware of, right? So on similar lines, we are going to learn today few more things that we must be aware of, right? So let's continue. Renaming a variable. First is renaming a variable. Let's see. Renaming a variable, I think most of us or even everybody must have encountered that they had to rename a variable. Now here we have a sample application which we developed in one of our previous demos. Suppose I had to rename this variable date to date 1. So you can do it like this, right? But suppose this variable is being used in a number of places, right? So in that case it will uh, generate compile time errors, right? Let's say, let me show you. Suppose I write date equals null and date equals new date, and date equals new date. It's a random code, right? Just to show this renaming of variable. So now this variable, initially what I also used to do, if I want to rename it to date 1, I used to rename it and then I copy and paste at all the locations where it was getting used, right? But later I also found out that there is a better way to do this. If you want to rename this variable in one go and it gets updated at all the locations, so this option is there with us. So you can just right click with the name of variable and refactor rename. Now if you change, let's change it to current date, you see the change is being reflected at all the locations where that variable is getting used. So this is how you can rename the variable in an easy way, right? Let's go ahead with last edit location, back and forward buttons. Okay, now last edit location, this I'm talking about these three buttons: last edit location, back and forward. Now when I was not aware of these buttons, what I tell you, what I used to do, suppose your class is containing, let's say here it is only 40 or 50 lines of code. If it is containing thousands of lines of code, right, let me try to increase the code size. All right, let's keep it. Don't go by compile time errors, right? So last edit location. Now suppose you are changing or you are coding at this line. Let's say I say date, let's say current date is equals to new date. Now you have to scroll down to some other location in your class to see something, or just for any purpose you had to scroll down. Now you forgot where were you editing, right? So what I also used to do initially, either you remember the line number, right, and then, or you scroll up and then go to the location where you were editing, right? But this shortcut is given to us. Go to my last edit location, it will automatically take you to the location where you were editing your code, right? So this is useful. When I saw this, I was very happy. Okay, now about this back and forward buttons. Okay, let's try to open another file. Let's say I say servlet context.xml. Suppose I do some change here. All right. uh, okay, Now if I let's say similarly here also, in any file last edit location will be useful. It will take you to the last edit location. Now if I go back, if I want to go back to home controller, then you can use this button. And in fact you can go back to any of these locations where you were coding, or where you were, or the files which you were using, right? So let's say I go to home controller, take me back to the home controller. Now you see this forward button is also active, take me back to the servlet context.xml, take me back to home controller. So these are back and forward buttons to enable you to move faster, you can say switch the files faster, you can say. So these forward and back buttons are also there, and they are also quite useful, but I'm uh, more fan of this last edit location button, right? All right, so search for a word. Yeah, search for a word, I think everybody must have used this feature, right? Go to search file and containing text, let's say I say current date. Okay, that's fine. Now it says that 61 matches in the workspace. Now suppose your project or your word is being found across a number of projects. Alright, now it implicitly opened you the location where that variable or where the text is found. Now every time it is not going to be open. If there are a number of projects, so you, what you will have to do, you will have to click on this arrow, click on this arrow, then open, click on this arrow, then open, click on this arrow, then open. So if your you can say the hierarchy is long, then you have to do multiple clicks. So this button is there, it will show, it will just expand this hierarchy and go to that place where that match is found, right? This is also pretty useful when you are searching for any text in your files, this show next match option. Next is open a resource. I think these are uh, almost known to everyone. Open a resource, there is a shortcut control shift R. Now this was very much useful when I really started my career. Initially, when we were naive to Eclipse, or your you can say your STS. STS we used later, but Eclipse we did not know what is the shortcut. So Control Shift R. This is the shortcut if you want to search for on XML files. So star.xml. Now here what I found out, that suppose most of the times, or in many of the cases, it happens that your Java class name is quite lengthy, right? So in that case what you can do is you can put, let's say you are having spring, and this you can put a star, and you know that it is also containing this, then you can also do it like that. So star you can use to replace the characters, it's like a regular expression that you can use. All right, so if I say servlet and then XML, so you can have or Java, so ser star dot java, it is going to give you all those matching Java classes with starting alphabets ser. All right, so just moving quickly, code formatting, I think this is also pretty much simple. Control Shift F is the shortcut to format your code. Let's say I do it like this. If you want to format it back, Control Shift F you can use. Now this I found particularly useful because sometimes we have to copy, let's say these two lines of code or some few lines of code to some other location. In that case what happens that your formatting gets distorted, so you can use this shortcut. Or you are writing yourself your if condition, or most of the times like try catch when you are writing, in that case you want to format the code, so Control Shift F is the shortcut. Alright, go to line number. I think very simple. Control L is the shortcut. Now how to show these line numbers? Go to right click and show line numbers. Just check this one. How to change the path of web module, the last one. Now for this also is useful, and I tell you very frankly that I got to know about this in very later part of my career, right? So what I mean by this is that you define the context name of your application here, right? And you cannot keep it blank as well, you can see. But let's say your project name is customer service, all right, and then when you run your application, let's say I run it as run on server. Okay, we have a lot of errors, so let's try to do a control Z, all errors remove, so that we can run it on server. Okay. So here the context root of my application, as you saw also, it is MVC, and the mapping in my home controller is slash home. So if I try to access MVC slash home, it must be accessible, which is giving me right now 404. Right now the reason is that I have deployed the application onto this Tomcat with a different context path. Now you must have opened this file, right, to change the port numbers or to change the timeout settings, or to you can say check this radio button as well, because do not publish the changes automatically, right? But modules thing, you see here I have changed the context path of this module to slash. Now my application is deployed at slash and slash home. If we try, it will work. Now consider, like I was telling you, if your application name is customer service, right? So in that case you have to write customer service slash, let's say your URL is customer slash add, right? uh, so this customer service word is redundant, right? You do not want this to come up. So what you can do, you can deploy your applications at the root context, you can say. Even though you here in the properties context root is MVC, but still this application is deployed in the context, you can say the slash path, so it is accessible via slash, right? So initially I tell you what I used to think, that we cannot eliminate this word MVC, or we run our application with this context root only, which we specify here in the web project settings. But later I also got to know that you have other option also in your server, that with which context path you want to deploy your application, right? So I hope I was able to explain you these few things which are pretty useful, and in day-to-day development we frequently come across these things. So we as developers, I thought we must be aware of these concepts, these things. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching the video. Let me know through your comments if you did not understand, or anything, or you have any query, or you have or you know anything that you want to share with everyone, right? So if you like this video, please hit the like button, please do share it with your friends, and yeah, thank you so much. Bye bye, good night.